Do you hear that bang, everybody? I'm going to play it again. These are radio frequencies at 6:02 a.m. to the metal roof of my nonprofit building. You hear that bang? I'm going to play it again. It's loud, isn't it? Imagine that sound at 6:02 a.m. reverberating inside the building where the cats are sleeping. But it's not the only one. And the reason I'm photographing it through another camera is because every time I download, this is just recent, I've been downloading these videos as evidence, and when I go to play them back on my phone, there's no sound. And this is what happened after I reported my incidents to the State Department. They referred my report to the FBI. Nobody ever got back to me. But after it was reported to the FBI, all of my evidence in my laptop, all of the downloads of all these videos that I saved, suddenly all the sound disappeared from them. I'm sure some technology person could retrieve the sound back. When I called the security camera company, they said, oh no, that's not the way it works. If you download one of our videos, the sound goes along with it. So there you go, third-party interference. I'm going to play this again. Wait 1 second. Gotta find it again. 6:02 a.m. Playback. Bang. That goes on in their building all day and all night long since July 2019. Since July 2019, radio frequencies have been bombarding my cats nonstop every day, usually intervals of a half an hour, 40 minutes. Sometimes it's consecutive. If I go into the building, they'll intentionally, deliberately cause it to be a loud boom. I'm going to try to adjust the sound. Just give me a moment here. You're going to get a little bit of a blackness here because the criminals get into my phone, and as I suspected, the volume on my phone was turned down. So let's go back here. I'm going to go back, do the playback again. You hear that loud bang? I'm going to play it one more time. So anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. It's May 14, 2024. And the criminals have been interfering with my cameras, laptop, evidence. And I want to make a comment to subscriber. I'm just going to go to the front door here a second. So you're going to get a little bit of blackness here, so you don't see my very cluttered, tiny home. I'm going to tell you that, of course, these criminals don't want you to move. They're gaining sadistic pleasure by tormenting people because they're psychopaths. They're addicts. They're addicted to chaos. They get off on it. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they're all jerking off behind behind the scenes, these losers, these fusion center operatives that are following us, the ones that set the neighbors up, the ones that set Zoomy, not my cat Zoomy, the stupid moron up the block to go zooming down the county road. And you mean to tell me that nobody else hears that except me? Do you know that that noise, the level of noise, and I've played it for multiple people now, the level of noise is enough to disturb all the wildlife. It's enough to disturb my cats, the chickens, the roosters. You mean to tell me these radio frequencies don't affect animals and wildlife? That this time of the year, a lot of wildlife have little ones. They have babies. So, so this is an evidentiary video. And that's just one of many videos recording loud bangs in the middle of the night. That was at 6:02 a.m. It happens at 4 o'clock, 3 a.m., 2 a.m., midnight, all day long. But I also wanted to say that with regard to the real estate, I worked in real estate. I worked for 3 different brokers of record. I know everybody thinks, oh, you know, you're a psychologist, you're this, you're that. But in my past life, before I completed my education, remember, I was an adult learner. I didn't receive my master's degree. I was in my 50s, okay? I was in my 50s. I went back to school in my 40s to complete my undergraduate and then my graduate in my 50s. Because I didn't need it back in the day. I mean, who needed college degree? I mean, I did not need a college degree in human resources. I only need some certifications and stuff, other kinds of experience. So anyway, but I wanted to say that during my divorce, I ended up getting another part-time job because after 9/11, after September 11, my staffing business kind of went down the tubes. I had clients in New York City that disappeared. Some of them died in Cantor Fitzgerald. I don't want to go there. I'll start to cry. But I ended up getting local part-time jobs and then continuing my staffing business at the same time. So one of those jobs was working for Linda Trott of Trott Realty. Unfortunately, Linda died, but and her husband too. I believe that they were targeted. But anyway, Linda Trott was one of the hardest working, most ethical broker of record realtors that I have ever known. And I worked for her as her assistant, office manager, or whatever. So I would organize her calendar, and she started to trust me and stuff, and she would bring me on her caravan sometimes. And what that is, you know, they get a bunch of the realtors, and you go combing the neighborhood, looking through, looking at the listings, houses that are for sale, houses that might be for sale, houses that are on the market, checking them out, see who the competition is. So she brought me along a couple of times. And another time, I was with another realtor for an open house. So I actually think that she was grooming me to get certified. And that was sabotaged later on, but I'll tell you. So I do have a little experience in real estate. So after Linda Trott died on the interstate because a truck driver allegedly fell asleep on his own and rammed into their vehicle as they were returning from New York City for her husband's cancer-free medical visit, they were killed upon impact. Of course, it was heartbreaking for me. This is my boss. Like, what am I going to do now? So I was tasked with cleaning up her office and taking care of the office and packing things up and working with the other realtors to transition to another brokerage house. That was the deal. Her son arranged it because she had some great realtors. Let me tell you, she ran her business like nobody else. She was trustworthy. She was hard. She scared the shit out of me sometimes, though. I would be really nervous around her because she was tough. She was a tough cookie. But I totally trusted her. She had everybody's best interests. She was a public speaker. She had her own little radio. No, she had her own little TV channel back then. She wrote a lot of her own scripts, and they modeled her. Other realtors modeled after her. So it wouldn't surprise me if they wanted to take her out, because she was a standalone agency. She wasn't like a Prudential or Century 21. She wasn't one of those big ones, you know, with the multi-level marketing and stuff like that. She was her own agent. But anyway, I learned a lot from her. Then after that, we were all sent. We had the option to work, I think it was 60 or 90 days at Prudential New Jersey Properties. So yeah, so we all went over there. I did. So, and of course, I was an assistant there. I didn't have the same level there as I did with Linda Trott. But again, I was still working in real estate. And then after I think it was 60 or 90 days expired, most of the people they wouldn't hire, they didn't have the space. I actually didn't like it there either. I didn't like the broker of record. But I ended up going to ERA, and I was the office manager to the broker of record. And I was with her for quite a while until that agency closed down. And I did go to real estate school. And ironically, I didn't pass by 1 point. Isn't that bizarre? 1 point. How is that possible? I don't know. I think I was sabotaged back then. But anyway, so what I did in her office is I listed all the advertisements. I did all the scheduling for all the open houses and stuff like that. And back in the day, we had print ads. We had a lot of print ads. And I wrote the listings. I put them on the internet. So I had a lot, and I scheduled the broker of records appointments and her showings and stuff like that. So I have a little bit more experience than maybe the lay person when it comes to real estate. I know the way it works behind the scenes. I know the way that it works with commissions. I know how everything is negotiable. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there, that if some realtor is telling you that you can't get more than X for your house, that's a total crock of BS. That tells me that she's been sold, that somebody contacted that agent. Because there is not a real estate agent out there. Of course, they want to be honest and say, you know, I think your property is worth between this and that. But hey, you know what? In this market, land is so valuable. Let's put it up higher. What have you got to lose? Maybe somebody will bite on it. And the worst that could happen is we reduce the price. Every time you reduce the price on a listing, it goes back to the top of the, the queue. Because what happens is, when you list a house, the days start counting. And you could see how many days a house has been on the market. And then every house that is subsequently placed on the market, that house gets seen usually before the others, you know, unless they're all in the same week. And then what happens is every time you change the price, that bumps you right back up again. But if you never change the price on your house, like even $1,000, you know, you don't get seen again. You don't get in that same queue. I mean, of course, I don't know what the algorithms are these days, but I've noticed, because I'll bookmark houses I want to follow, even if I can't afford them. I want to see what they're going to go for, because I have seen houses going for X amount of money, like when I was purchasing this property. And if it's on the market a long time, and if it's overpriced, some people will drop it $50,000, $80,000. So you want to see how that happens. You want to see how that works. So I just wanted to put that out there for people who might be in the same predicament of selling on your own or listing with a realtor. And these are the pros and cons. Obviously, the pros are that a listing agent already has all their marketing set up. And that's why when this realtor that I met would say, I'm not going to put out the $2,000 and not get my money back. Excuse me? I mean, I just inquired about listing my land on a website, a subscription website. It's like $95 a month for 3 websites, prime listings and stuff. If I want to spend more money, I could spend more. So what this realtor is telling me, $2,000, all I have to put out is $95 a month to get my house listed on the 3 top land and farm homestead websites. Okay, so don't let anybody tell you that you can't sell your own house either. The other thing is, if somebody wants your house and they have an agent, that agent, they will contact their agent to get in contact with you. So if you list your property, your resident, yourself, whether it's for a rental or a purchase, you will also have agents contacting you. They'll be contacting you if they have a buyer or if they're trying to get you to list with them, which is usually the ploy. They'll say, oh, well, I have a buyer. Well, good, bring me a buyer. I'll give you 2%. You know, you don't have to do anything. I've done it all for you. I've listed it. I've taken the photos. I'll get the drone footage. So don't let anybody tell you that you can't sell your own property. Before I moved to New Jersey, the 2 residences that were co-ops at the time, I had one co-op, and then another apartment became available in the same building. It was an older resident, like she was in her 90s. And after she died, and this is the way New Yorkers work, I'm sorry, guys. When I saw her being carried out on the stretcher, I called the landlord and I told him, sight unseen, I said, I want her apartment. I knew what the layout was, and I worked out a deal with him. He gave me that apartment. He allowed me to renovate it for free. No, I didn't have to pay him any rent. And he actually gave me, I don't remember if at the time, I think he gave me $20,000 towards the renovation of the bathroom and the kitchen. I had to lay out everything else. So what I did was, I worked on that apartment while living in my other co-op in the same building. When the second co-op or apartment was available to move into, I listed the other apartment, the other co-op, myself. And I sold it. This is with my ex-husband. I sold it myself. And then when we wanted to move to New Jersey, and we moved to 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey, we also listed ourselves that co-op and sold it ourselves. We actually sold it to a doctor who works at Mount Sinai in New York City. And ironically, when I was delivering my daughter, she came to visit me. So you can sell yourself. Don't let anybody say that you can't. Yeah, it's a pain. It's difficult, especially in these times, you know, trusting people and whatever. But the thing is, the way these realtors have to qualify their buyers, so do you. You get them to fill out a form. You get their name, their address, you get their bank, all of the information that a buyer should already have, right? They may even have a letter from the bank authorizing, a loan. So don't let anybody tell you that you can't sell on your own, because these realtors are corrupt. Especially in a small town like this, you don't think that they know every realtor around here. In fact, the realtor that listed this property for the sons of the owner who passed away contacted me. He said, "Oh, I hear you might be listing the house." I said, "Yeah." He said, "You have a buyer?" And he says, "Oh, yeah, I might have a buyer." Never heard from him again. He was just fishing for information. So there you have it. So far I have spoken to, let me see, four realtors, local, 2 different agencies. I have no interest in working with them. I will be listing the property myself, and it'll be on public websites that other people can contact me. So it might take a little bit longer, so it's not going to be on, I don't think it's going to be on Zillow. It's going to be on Land Watch and, all the land places. And so what if I have to pay a monthly fee? Big deal. I would have to pay 4 or 5 or even 6% to a realtor on the bottom line sale price, in addition to paying closing costs and legal fees to a lawyer for closing. So you can put out the money in advance to list your property, list your land for sale, list your house for sale. If you're renting, you want a renter, you can do it yourself. And that's what I'm going to do. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'm going to try. So anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. That was just want to give you that little rant about that. And here comes Federal Express. It might be from me. So I'm going to sign off for now. I hope everybody's doing well.